Oops. No. Let's see here. Okay, I think we're live. Oops. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's see here. There's another one I was going to take away. What was this one? Yeah, that one for now. All right. How is everybody doing? We're going to get started in just a second. We're going to wait on Pete to come on because we have a lot to talk about. Sorry for this crazy hair mess. It's kind of one of those mornings, but we'll of course get situated right here, right now. Yeah, we're just gonna wait, chill a little bit. Sunday morning, game's not till 5:30, I think, for the East Coast West Coast. So it's kind of a late game that I wish didn't happen. Descu, yeah, the Nuggets won, man. We're gonna talk a lot about them in just a second. Just waiting for my boy Pete to get on, and then we'll go right into talking about the LA Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. It is going to be a yeah, man. I it's kind of one of those things. Like looking at it, it is fascinating to watch to see that like no matter what the I would say no matter what the Lakers threw at them, there was always an answer. But we'll get started in just a second. Like I said, just want to make sure that we're live on other platforms and also live streaming as well. Let's see here. I'm actually going to quickly charge something, so I'll be right back on my end. Here, webcam. Okay. Charge this. Okay. Here we go. Okay, there we go. What up, what up? He's back. And I'm back as well. I just had to go charge my phone. So turn around. Something like that. I think it's like the Taker. Is that Taker's old? Biker Taker? Biker Taker. Good times. All right. We are officially live. We have some people already in the comments. Descu, I see you, man. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Like I said, we're going to talk about this Laker Nuggets game. We also are going to. I want to talk a little bit about the draft combine. There's some just kind of winners and losers that came out of that draft. Of course, Pete and I are going to be doing a live stream about some of these players, so definitely be on the lookout for that. We're also going to talk a little bit more about the Portland Trailblazers and what they might do in the NBA draft. I know that they're looking to either looking to use their pick to trade for somebody. It doesn't seem like they're going to keep it. And then we also have another rumor that the Mavericks are also not interested in DeAndre Ayton, bringing the number one and what is he, the number 3 pick? Yeah, number 1 and number 3 pick together in Dallas. Yeah. I think it's so I think it's technically the 3rd. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we have some of these stories to talk about. Like I said, I think the first thing to start off with is I think we got to start with Lakers Nuggets. Pete, is that is that where we should go? All right, let's start there. But before we do start there, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, all this stuff helps out the channel tremendously. It helps us get more people onto the channel, gets more of you guys to comment in the comment section, chatting up with Descu and many other people that have been in the channel previously. It does help the channel out, guys. So please hit that like button, share it with people that you know that are basketball enthusiasts, because like I said, it does help us out in the long run, especially if you want the production, I would say, of the show to be higher, which I'm aiming for doing that. We definitely need your help in sharing the channel and getting more eyes and viewers on it. But no, enough of me promoting the channel. Let's get right into it. Denver Nuggets, LA Lakers last night in game number 3. Denver Nuggets win this game 119-108. Pete, I'll start with you first because, I've kind of already said my takes about this series already. For people that have watched the previous videos, go and check them out if you haven't. But let's get your take, Pete. I know we haven't really talked besides texting each other, and things like that. But to the audience, like what have you noticed in this series so far? Well, hang on 1 second. I just want to make sure it is not going through. I want to make sure they can hear you. Dang it. 1 second. I'm sorry, people. This is the ultimate fail. God, I hate when it does this. Properties. All right, now try to talk now.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello. All right, we good.
Why is there an echo? Oh, whoops.
Echo.
All right, try now.
You got my voice doubled up?
Oh yeah, there you go. Now, you're good now. You're good now.
All right. So for the Nuggets and Lakers, I mean, to me, Bernie, dude, it's pretty simple. I just think the Nuggets are a better team. I think they have a lot of things in their favor. One is continuity, right? I mean, this team has been together. I mean, they haven't played together as much as they should have over the years, but they have been together for years now. And in terms of NBA time, they're pretty well seasoned as a team in terms of their play styles, meshing together. The real only exceptions are like some of the fringe role guys, right? Like Bruce Brown and who's the other one I'm forgetting? Aaron Gordon's been there for like a year. I'm trying to think there's one other dude I'm thinking. Oh, Christian Braun. I mean, he's obviously a rookie, right?
Yeah.
That being said, beyond just the continuity, I mean, they're a well-oiled machine, and this is kind of what we talked about in our postseason predictions. Is just the fact that this Nuggets team, man, their offense, they have a skill that is undeniable in terms of I've heard other NBA analysts and commentators over the years talk about this, but one thing I'm a huge proponent of, right, is most of the great teams have like a absolute undeniable, this is what we're extremely good at. We have this one thing we can always rely on, and we're going to win most games if we ride this thing, right?
Yeah.
And for the Nuggets, it's really simple. They can always get an open shot, like constantly. It really does not matter who it is. They're going to get an open shot. And that's what you're seeing. Because like last night is a perfect example, Bernie. Jamal Murray is absolutely murdering the Lakers in the first half. You can't double him. You can't do that against that team, because then what are you doing with Jokic, right? What are you doing with MPJ in the corner? You can't do anything if Jamal Murray is going for 30 in the first half. You just can't. And that is beyond the fact that the Lakers have, and Bernie, you know more than just about anybody, but everybody in the chat, most of you guys should know this if you've watched us for a while. I love LeBron. This is no shade at LeBron. You're kind of playing 4-on-5 on defense. It's just that simple. You're playing 4-on-5. He doesn't really run around and play like intense defense. He just can't do it based on his load on, the other side of the ball. So that being said, if you have somebody like Jamal Murray absolutely killing you, you can't double him, and you're down to basically a whole defender on your team. So it's just a bad matchup for the Lakers. I said this to you before this series even started. From my opinion, I just didn't see how the Lakers were going to do it, because beyond even the continuity stuff, beyond whatever you want to come up with, they don't have enough guys to match up with this Nuggets team. And it's not just straight up like the bench depth, but it's literally just in their starting lineups. There's too much to account for. So I don't know, Bernie, what are you seeing in this series?
I mean, basically what I'm kind of seeing in this series for the most part has been kind of what we talked about in our postseason prediction as to, I actually called this Western Conference final, not to be like a guy that toots his own horn, but I called it and I said the Nuggets were going to win this series just because I just felt that they were like you said and talked about, like it's a more cohesive unit. They've been together for so long, and you kind of made a great point there. Like think about the players that the Lakers had to bring in and had to
Mhm.
get acclimated to the Lakers system. Like there's a ton
Half
of
their team.
guys. Half their team is that way, and again, another player that has continuously killed the Lakers in this playoffs has been D'Angelo Russell. And I think he's another guy to me that I think he is a solid player, but at the same time, he his passing decisions, I feel like he does a lot of things on the offensive end that are good, but then it's just like, what are you going to get out of him game by game? He's not consistently good on offense. It's like you're going to get
No.
some games where he's like, you know, 5 for 12 or like 5 for 10, and there's other games we're gonna get which was like 1 for 6 or 1 for 8. Um,
Yeah.
Austin Reeves, consistently being solid as like a 15 to 20 point per game scorer, which is what you need from Austin Reeves. He played a ton of minutes and is not going to take a lot of shots. I think with the emergence of Rui Hachimura, I think he's going to get a bag next summer. And I've talked about my Rui Hachimura propaganda ad nauseum to you guys, and of course on this channel as well. I just feel like for a team like the thing that's different about the Lakers and the Nuggets is the Nuggets are going to try to get most of their points in their offense through 3 pointers, whereas the Lakers are going to try to get it more inside and try to get fouled at the rim. And there's a reason why you see the foul discrepancy a little bit in favor, or well, 10 free throws in favor of the LA Lakers. But at the same time, um, I just think the role players also, Pete, for the Nuggets have done really
Yeah,
well.
they're better.
And I know that to me, it's I'm kind of interested to see why Jared Vanderbilt is only playing 14 minutes.
That
Uh,
is the most unexplainable thing about this whole series to me, Bernie. I genuinely you just about in the same way you just mentioned Rui, your Rui propaganda. I have long been known for my Jared Vanderbilt propaganda on this channel. I genuinely don't understand it. I mean, he's an offensive liability to a certain extent, but
mhm.
that's not the problem with this team. Like I don't do you look at the Lakers and say this is a team that just like offensively I just don't get it. Like I don't think that's their problem in this series. I
Um,
think it's just it's a mix of getting the Nuggets out of their flow. Like the Nuggets are constantly in these stretches where they're putting up like, 24 to 8 runs. There's the 30-point first half for Jamal Murray. Like to me, I just don't understand why you don't put a guy like Jared Vanderbilt who can, he can close up a lot of your gaps on defense. He's so long, he's so versatile. I don't know. My propaganda is like put him and Rui out there with LeBron, AD, and Reeves and see what happens. Like, see what happens.
yeah. I mean, I do think that their offense is a little bit of an issue. Like if you look at like a couple of games, like I'm looking right now at their playoff series that they
Well,
have, like again, like the
it's an
Timberwolves.
issue when LeBron, yeah. LeBron and AD can't hit anything.
Yeah. Like, they're usually scoring in like the hundreds, right? Like the low, like, 108s, the 105s. Like that to
Hmm.
me is like what when a Lakers team is like really good. And they got to that box score, but I just think the offensive firepower for the Denver Nuggets is too much. And, you know, again, I talked about this before on the channel a couple days ago. We have to start, and I do it for the Miami Heat as well. We have to start putting a little bit more respect on the teams that are going against the Celtics and the
Yep.
Lakers. Like it can no longer
Yes.
be this sort of like the refs are scripting it. It's a script thing. It's
It's exhausting. It's the
or
worst thing going on in
yeah.
basketball right now.
Or like blaming the other team. Like let's just give credit to the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler. Let's give credit to the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Jokic. Like those guys are playing so freaking hard right now, and you can see that Jamal Murray is tired of the noise. Like the way that he's been playing the games, the way that he's been, uh, I would say like finding his shots. I mean, again, another night where Jamal Murray is 5 for 11 from 3 point land. Like he's no Steph Curry by any means in terms of 3 point shooting, but the separation that he can get on his guy
Hmm.
to get an open shot is crazy. It's tremendous, and it's kind of one of those things where they need to start thinking about. again, like we talked about with your Vanderbilt propaganda, Vanderbilt has to play a little bit more on defense on him, and I just don't think that um, Dennis Schroeder can guard him. I don't think you
Mm-mm.
put anybody like definitely not D'Angelo Russell. Like
Not
Vanderbilt
even a
has to be the
question. Yeah.
primary defender on Jamal Murray because Jamal Murray can get a shot off on anybody, and he also has some post moves that he does on some of these guys too. Like I remember seeing that one on the right hand block where Jamal Murray got Dennis Schroeder on the up fake. Dennis Schroeder jumps, and then Jamal Murray just banks it off the glass for a nice little 2 point shot. Like those are like Jamal Murray's been playing tremendous, and I think Mike Malone had a great post game interview talking about how the media and people are just saying that he's damaged goods, or I don't know if it's the media, but maybe I need to re-listen to the interview. But talking about how Jamal Murray was damaged goods, he's not a good player, um, and really it's kind of awe-inspiring to see that people like it's no longer just Bubble Murray anymore. Like it's not Bubble Murray, it's Jamal Murray. Like, and
Yeah.
it's no longer like, oh, this was only in the bubble type of thing.
Well, and I think honestly, I think that's the best part about this playoffs, in my opinion. I mean, we have the same four teams in the finals, right? In this
Yeah,
the conference finals. Like I have, I mean, we have opined how annoying all the talk about how unimportant the bubble championship is, like for a long time. Like
yeah,
to me, that's one of the dumbest narratives
hmm
in all of sports. Like
yeah,
to discredit what the bubble was is just ridiculous. I mean, they were all on a level playing field. Whether or not your team made it that far, whether or not your team was doing better in the regular season before the pandemic started, whatever, it doesn't matter. Those four teams were playing the best of the four teams that made it to the bubble. Only a couple years later, here we are, and it's mostly the same teams. The only exception, I mean, the Lakers are mostly a different team, right?
yeah,
Besides AD and LeBron. But outside of that, this is the same group of guys, right? Like these
yeah,
teams are mostly intact. And when you think about that and you think about like the Heat and the Nuggets in particular, it just shows how biased so many people are against small market teams. And I know that the Heat aren't small market teams. The Nuggets are really the small market team of these four. But compared to the Lakers and the Celtics, right? I think if you're actually weighing apples to apples here,
mm,
it's not 1-to-1. Like the Heat
yeah,
are a smaller market team than those other teams. And that being said, my point comes around here back to what you said, Bernie. You're totally right. Like these two teams are so incredibly disrespected. And it's not even just the Heat or not just the Nuggets and the Heat, but it's just I'm trying to wrap my words around what I'm trying to say here. I think this what it goes to show, Bernie, is just how little of these other teams people actually watch. Right. And I think that the
yeah,
Nuggets are the best example of this. Like I genuinely feel like we're seeing the true colors of how many people actually watch these games and not just listen to podcasts, not just read
hmm
hoops hype or whatever it is. Look at the player ratings on
yeah,
2K, right? Like the Nuggets have been this good all season long.
yep,
Literally from the opening whistle of the season, they were this team. They played this way.
hmm
Jokic has been this good for years. Jamal Murray has been this good for years, minus his injury.
yeah,
It just shows, man. Like these dudes are really talented, and I find it really humorous that people are acting like the Lakers are. This is a shocking result. Like they entered this series as a huge underdog. Like in my opinion, they should have been.
yeah.
Like I don't even get it. I don't know, man.
I just think it's because we're so used to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now that the injuries have kind of subsided during
Yeah.
the playoffs, at least like he's one of the best. He can be one of the best players in the league. But I do agree with you, Pete. It's kind of funny, like looking back at and I kind of wanted to make that point too. Like the media, ESPN, Fox Sports, there is only a select handful of people that actually watch these games. And it is disappointing to see that guys getting paid millions of dollars, not the athletes, but the news reporters and the analysts or, quote unquote analysts and the people that are supposed to watch these games throughout are not watching the games. They don't take the time to watch a Denver Nuggets Thunder series that are during the
Mm-hmm.
they don't have they don't watch Timberwolves. They don't watch anybody. But I would say even the highlights of the teams that they are remotely interested in. Like we saw during the second half of the season, the Celtics struggled the way that they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Miami Heat, and the same thing we saw with the LA Lakers for that little stretch. And well, I mean, clearly the media talks about them at nauseum, and the Celt like they talk about these teams at nauseum. So I know they will notice that a little bit more, but they don't notice the Denver Nuggets and the way that they run their stuff and how Jokic is. And even like I don't know if you saw in this game, like Jamal Murray was actually setting some screens for Jokic, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
trying to get him open. And it's actually some ingenious coaching by Mike Malone there, to get Jokic open on that 3-point shot that he hit over Anthony Davis. And really just creating space for Jokic to kind of do some things. They do a lot of good things in the Princeton, like a hybrid Princeton style offense, and
Yeah.
they do a lot of backdoor cutting. Like there's a lot of stuff, and the only reason why I know about it is just because we are, at least my team that I'm coaching is transitioning to that type of style of offense
Ooh, okay.
because
There you go.
we have those type of players. Um,
Bernie Malone.
Bernie Malone. But uh, yeah, I mean, it's just like, and I do want to make that point because I can't remember what the ESPN lady reporter's name. I think it was Lisa Salters,
Yes, that's who it was.
and her, what was it? She didn't watch any Nuggets games, or she didn't some of that effect. I can't remember, or maybe she didn't watch
Whoa.
Jokic.
You'd never seen Jokic play live? Is that what it was? But she's like a sideline reporter for the biggest sports media
Yeah,
company on planet Earth. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make much sense. She was just very non-committal to saying she had watched a lot of Jokic play
yeah.
basketball.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of why, like, a guy that I watch and kind of follow a little bit more is like Cuffs the Legend. He was he kind of follows LeBron James. He's kind of like a LeBron James. I wouldn't call him a groupie, but he follows LeBron James. He knows about him.
Hmm.
He could be a groupie, if you want to say that.
I think he's groupie,
Um,
groupie-ish.
but I think he does tell the truth when it's not LeBron James. I think he does tell the truth a lot about these guys. Like I, quoted him for that Jason Tatum stuff that I noticed with Drew Hanlon.
Yeah.
I still think that stuff is true to this day. But I think he's one of those guys that watches the game, that knows about the game, and one of those guys that, like, to me, probably should be in this sort of like media role. I know that the media likes, there are certain people that they don't want anybody too controversial or to say anything that will, rock the boat. But I want those type, like a guy like JJ Redick to me is another guy that I would put in there. Um, who's the other guy at the? Oh my gosh, I mentioned him a couple days ago. Um,
Um, where
the
at?
ESPN
Works at ESPN?
works at ESPN is Tim Legler. There you
Mm.
go. I think like
Oh,
legs.
legs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
Legs is another
Legler.
guy that I would like give him the show, give him kind of that I would say, people like Malika Andrews, like those people, they're not into the basketball the way that these guys are. Like get people that know the game into these spots. And I know this is a rant far from what we're talking about, which is the Nuggets and the Lakers, but I do think we need to start having more of those people in the media and more of those people in these conversations, because to me, what and I really thought about it, like what makes the difference between, like, NFL commentators versus NBA commentators. I just feel like they know the game and they watch the game a lot more, and I just think that because there's 82 games that you have to pay attention to for each team, it does make it hard. But at the same time, I don't think it's as hard as people are making it. Like, just have separate divisions and have different personalities talk about different sports. I just feel like ESPN, because they're doing the cost, because they're losing a lot of money, because they have to spend all the money on the sports deals. Like they're losing these personalities and people like that. And so instead of having like different people for different sports, that seems like they just want to do the Stephen A approach, which is, I want everybody to talk about every single
Yeah.
sport, which is just a
Pretty much.
big, huge yawn fest. And I know, like I said, I know we're off the Nuggets Lakers conversation, but to wrap it all back, just because we are talking about the Denver Nuggets, put some respect on the Denver Nuggets name. They are one game away from going to their first ever NBA Finals, and look, they have the role players to do this. And I think for the Lakers, it's one of those things where the role players that they have are either too brand new or they just can't make effect like they want them to.
Yeah, I mean, well, a couple things, last few things here. Like, I think the most obvious thing about this Nuggets team, excuse me, that's just completely underrated, under talked about, under appreciated, undervalued is their 1 through 4. Like, their 1 through 4 is arguably one of the best in the entire NBA, regardless of just right now. But I mean, if you look at it, Bernie, like, people don't talk about them like that. They have Jokic, who's either the best player in the league or, second or third best. I would say he's probably the best right now. Obviously, he's still the last one remaining of the, consensus top 3 guys. Jamal Murray, I would argue, a top 30 guy. Michael Porter Jr. is, I mean, take him or leave him. People are, pretty all over the place with MPJ, but I think we're seeing, like, this is perfect MPJ right now. He's the third guy. He's getting solid minutes for them, but he hits his shots. I mean, he's a 6'10", 6'11" guy who can hit his shots. He can catch
Yeah.
and shoot. He can, make his own shot when he needs to. That kind of stuff is crazy to have as your third guy. But then you go and you look at Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is the best version of Aaron Gordon by a mile. Like,
Yeah.
he's never been as good as he is right now, and it's because their system is so reliant upon Jokic, and Jokic opens so many doors for all of the guys on their team that he elevates the people around him. Like, he is, to me, the closest, and I don't mean it in any way to his play style, but what he does for his team, to me, is the closest to what LeBron was in the early 2010s, into the mid 2010s as well, in terms of just being an all-around impact player who elevates the level of play from all the guys on the court with him. Like, time and time again, those dudes are playing their premium level of basketball because what Jokic is doing. Also, second thing, I think we have a sneaky biggest loser of the year, Bernie. I think this guy has gotten away from what truly has been one of the worst seasons in the history of basketball. Are you prepared for this?
Let me know.
He's not a player.
Is it a coach?
He's a GM. His name is Tim Connolly. Mr.
Yeah.
Tim Connolly was the general manager of the Denver Nuggets last season, and he had been for years. He took a huge deal to go to the Timberwolves. He made the Rudy Gobert trade. He left the Nuggets, who are well on their way to winning a championship.
Yep.
He made the Rudy Gobert trade and left a championship team all in one offseason. I mean, we need to take a bow to this guy. That's impressive stuff. Like, all-time throw, all-time reverse card, Uno card. Like, he literally reverse Uno'd his own career. Like, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too much other than he's chasing the money, man. And
I mean, he took the bag, and if that was worth it. Yeah, no, I can't. I can. I'm gonna fault you anyway. Hey, you could have had a lot more money if you had just waited. Just waited a little bit longer with Nikola Jokic. You know what? Maybe if you're with Nikola Jokic, just stay there. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe just consider staying with the guy who's Nikola Jokic. I mean, are we serious? I love Anthony Edwards, but come on. Like, Rudy Gobert. He went there, he got Rudy Gobert, and then they're gonna go win a finals. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things you know if grass is greener on the other side. But yeah, just the kind of final thoughts here. Denver Lakers. Again, it's clear to see that there's a lot of stuff going on in Denver, Colorado than we realized, or I guess the media realized, because we obviously saw it from a mile away. We watched this team. They're kind of one of those. I think the thing too, Pete, is I think that the Nuggets are kind of like that. The nerds like the Nuggets, and not to disparage us or like anything like that, but they're kind of like that team that's like, well, yeah, they have all these pieces, but in the Lakers, they and the Celtics, they have the star players, the
Yeah.
superstars, and
Dude, the Nuggets are the kid at the lunch table nobody wants to sit next to. Like, I don't really understand why that's the case. I
it's,
really don't get it. Like,
it,
I don't know why. I think it's honestly, it's as simple as people don't watch them. Like, that's really what it is, Bernie. Like, to me, you look at all these people that want to pick against them constantly. I mean, you had people who were. I'll never understand people who were saying the Suns were going to walk over the Nuggets. I mean, those are people who don't watch basketball. It's
those
that simple.
those are people that never saw DeAndre Ayton in that NBA Finals, I guess.
Those are people who see the name Kevin Durant and they say, he's literally, it doesn't matter who he's up against, I'm going to pick him. That's crazy. I mean, when you have literally nobody coming off your bench, you're going against the team who's been the best team in the league all season long. You'd think you might be a little less biased and nuanced in your takes, but it's not what it is. I think the Nuggets are just not popular for whatever reason. I mean, you have these guys who were bemoaning Nikola Jokic winning another MVP, right? Like,
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to make some big apologies on TV, right? Where's the Lord and Savior Joel Embiid? You know,
Hmm.
I mean, he gave up on his team again, straight up gave up the will to win, and to me, I think that's one of the things that's the most underrated about Jokic, Bernie. I mean, the dude he's an engine. I mean, he is literally there is no reason that guy should have as much gas in the tank as he does, but he clearly is putting so much effort and, care into what he's doing. I don't know, man. I love Jokic. I almost just cursed. I love Jokic so much.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic is a good player. I do think that he does need to work on his work on
I
getting a
know it's
little bit more shape. But I
I
mean,
know it's big white European guy thing, but it's so Dirkish to me. Like, it took Dirk having literally the single most insane solo performance in the playoffs, winning that championship. What year was that?
2011,
2012, 2011.
2011.
That, it took that for him to get the
Hmm.
respect that he did. Like, to me, Jokic is in the same boat. Like, he's been doing this. This has been the same guy. It's just he actually has a healthy team around him, and now we're seeing what it looks like, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. And people, let us know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this series. Is it over for the LA Lakers? Are the Nuggets going to the NBA Finals? Let us know in the comment section down below. And also got what you guys think about the Denver Nuggets and the media bias that seems to be with these little smaller market teams. Like I said, we've seen it live in person with people like Mark Jackson, Lisa Salters, not watching Jokic, not giving Jokic MVP votes. Let us know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers. All right. Let's see here. I guess before we go on to other topics, was there anything that you wanted to bring up on the show?
Nah, I'm good. I'm along for the ride today.
All right. Actually, let's talk about one thing that we can talk about for the LA Lakers from a different perspective, and that is contract situations. I know that we all love contract situations, but we're looking at I would say, the Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves debate, because I know that these two guys are their contracts are up relatively soon, and they are looking to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
In this offseason. And, there's rumors that these two guys are looking to I would say
Jump ship,
jump
perhaps.
ship, maybe just because of the way that the monies
Yeah,
have been
catch a
situated.
bigger bag somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's
Well, Austin Reeves in particular, it sounds like.
Yeah, Austin Reeves, because I know that he could get priced out from the Lakers, and because of the new rules. But let's get right into it. So, of course, like I said, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, two guys that next year are going to be free agents for the LA Lakers. Two guys that can make a huge impact on any team that they're on. I know the Lakers are keen on keeping Austin Reeves. I know that the Lakers are wanting to keep Rui Hachimura. I think that last one's going to be a little hard, just because I think that he might get a big bag, and so will Austin Reeves. But Pete, if we kind of look maybe at the Lakers roster, maybe that's what we should do. Which guy would you want to keep on this team? I know D'Lo's probably out for you, uh, but which
I
guy
mean, I
would?
think easily you have to keep Reeves. You have to keep him. You can't have another. And again, no, we're gonna do the classic compare white guys thing here. You can't have another Caruso. You just can't. I mean, that Bernie. I know we had our discussions about that back in the day. I think you were very like, they're gonna be fine without Caruso. To me, at the time, I just felt like this is literally a big part of your identity as a team. The reason you're making it this far is
Hmm.
because of the hustle and the energy this guy is giving you. This is super similar. Like Austin Reeves, if they let him walk, I feel like a lot of their identity is walking out the door, which
Hmm.
is crazy to say because it's Austin Reeves on a team with LeBron and AD, but it's just true. He's their
Yeah.
third best player most nights.
Hmm.
Like consistently, he is that guy. And the thing about Austin Reeves is, I mean, dude, he's still young. He's 24. He keeps getting better, and clearly he has like a really high basketball IQ. I think that's the thing I'm the most impressed with Reeves is he seems to have such good court sense in terms of like when to take certain shots, when to go in and
Yeah.
get fouls, and he's really good at it. Like he is very, very good at drawing fouls at the right times,
Hmm.
doing the right things, making the right pass. I just don't think you can get rid of that or replace it really easily. So to me, you got to pay him. You just have to figure it out. You got to keep Austin Reeves, got to pay him. And as far as everybody else, I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. D'Lo, like you said, he's got to go. D'Lo has just got to go.
Yeah.
There's no way you can keep him around after this. And not only that, just financially, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, um, what they have Jared Vanderbilt under contract for another year or two.
Yeah. On the
Right.
screen right now, I have the free agents for this
Okay.
year. So you got
See.
D'Lo, Beasley, Lonnie Walker, Rui, Dennis, Troy Brown Jr., Austin Reeves, Tristan Thompson, and Scottie Pippen Jr.
I mean, I think one and two, it's Reeves and Rui. You have to keep those guys. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it's easy, like easy choice. Like you have
Hmm.
two dudes who are going to keep getting better. I'll give Rui another compliment. Like to me, I have always been very questionable about him. The want to be out there, the want to get better for him has always been a question for me. But I feel like we're seeing him in his perfect situation. He has this great sense of accountability, and this is in the fact that LeBron is there teaching him and expecting things out of him. And I think that means something. It's one thing to be on the Wizards and have expectations. It's another thing to be on a team with LeBron James and have
Yeah.
expectations, right? So you have these guys who are very talented young players who never really panned out 100%, never could get it all together.
Hmm.
Those are the type of guys where if you're seeing this burst of energy from Rui, I mean, he's so big, Bernie. He's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
He's so fluid on offense. Like that's the kind of guy. If you are Rob Pelinka, if you are building a team around LeBron James for the next couple seasons here, that's the exact type of guy you need. Huge, minute soaking players who can take the load off of LeBron and just be the bully LeBron physically can't be anymore, right? You need those
Hmm.
guys if you want to compete. So gotta get him. Gotta get him back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you there. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting offseason. I know, like we said, we talked a little bit about the Nuggets and things like that, but I do think it's important for us to also talk about the other team and what they are doing as well, because I do think that there's some guys on this team, like you said. I think Austin Reeves is definitely going to be important for them to keep. He seems to like flow really well with this team. Does a really good job in the pick and roll situation with LeBron James or Anthony Davis. Uh, Rui to
I
me is going.
honestly
What were you
think
gonna
they
say?
could get. I think they could get Reeves back. Like if somebody comes with like, let's say it's like a 105. Somebody offers him a three for 105. I genuinely think the Lakers can still sign him for like cheaper than other teams. I
You
think they're
think
gonna
so?
get the home. I think they'll get the hometown discount. Yeah, he comes across like to me. It seems like he really wants to be there. Like I also think if you're with LeBron, you make an exception of your contract, like, I don't know. I think he's going to help you out. I think he
Yeah.
could make up the difference maybe a little bit.
Well, hopefully Austin Reeves has a tequila company that he can start getting
Ah,
LeBron to go under.
I think maybe LeBron has one he can just, hey, here's your new tequila company, Austin.
Here's your Lobos. Here's your
Yeah,
Lobos.
here it is, bud.
Yeah, but I'm actually curious to see what Rui Hachimura does. Again, like I said, I'm a Rui Hachimura propagandist. He's my guy.
Bernie, you truly have become a propagandist like it to the utmost degree with Rui
Yeah.
right
Well, it's just
recently. It's interesting.
because he's one of those guys. Like again, I watched him come out of Gonzaga. I saw him. I don't think he played basketball until he was like in his like 16, 17 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And so like when I watched that, I'm like, okay, this kid actually has room
It's
to
got
grow.
something.
Like
Yeah,
there's something there where it's like, okay, I could potentially see him growing more and becoming a much better player. And I just think each and every year he's taking that step. I just think in Washington, in the nation's capital, he just took a major down step because that is such a disorganized franchise. They drafted many similar guys, similar to Rui Hachimura's build. Um, I don't think that they really gave him the opportunity or even the coaching to be that next guy that could, warrant a big contract. Um,
sure.
and now that he's kind of had that opportunity in Lakers with Phil Handy, really developing this guy. I want to shout out Phil Handy. I've been doing that lately in my last couple streams, but I think he's a really good freaking coach. And I think that he's a guy that, like I said, I think Tatum should go visit the dojo of Phil Handy. Um, because I think like you're seeing like that improvement. Like he's like if Rui's not getting that 3-point shot, he's going right to his mid range game. Just similar, and I know that Carmelo Anthony was one of his favorite players. Uh, Kind of that similar game. Like doesn't have that three, going right to his mid range, hitting it. But I do think that he's a guy that could maybe potentially warrant a big contract somewhere else. I just don't know what team would be. I'd have to do a little bit more research and see what teams and what the books look like, but he might be a guy that maybe they do a sign and trade with and see if they can get one of these like big pieces to come to LA.
Maybe. I honestly, I'd be pretty surprised if him and Reeves aren't back. I think they've been too good for the Lakers. And, we were disagreeing. You were saying that, perhaps the Rui Hachimura situation, maybe he's not getting enough shots because they don't want to pay him as much or whatever. I don't know, man. They're the Lakers. They're a huge market. They usually take care of people, that they want to keep. Usually.
Usually,
Huge,
but
usually. Huge, usually.
look at my guy
Um,
KCP.
I also, I mean, I just think like, I don't know, Bernie. Like, I feel like there's a lot of teams that are going to be smart enough to realize, are we going to go that crazy for Rui, who we didn't see much of anything from for a few years there in Washington? Are we going to bet that this little stretch was just him, or are we going to say that that was the institution that is LeBron elevating what he was? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, are we going to go drop a $95 million contract on a guy who didn't really show anything for a few years and then played with LeBron for half a season and looked really good? Does that mean he's worth that? I'm not saying he's not. He's 6'8", can shoot 3-point shots. He can, take people off the dribble. He's huge. People want that. Um, I don't know. It's not been like such a long sample size that we can clearly say, oh, he's put it all together. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It could be like he's playing literally with the greatest basketball player of all time, not named Michael Jordan. So that has to count for something. Bernie, let me ask you a question. This is a little specific. I don't know if anybody in our chat has even watched Kuroko, but I just have to ask you this. We've never talked about this. Rui, growing up in Japan, born in Sendai, all right?
yep,
Played high school basketball in Japan.
yep.
Which of the Generation of Miracles was Rui in high school? Was he Almine? He must have been, right?
He's probably a
just like
Mine. That there's
just like 6'7", dunking on little Japanese kids. I mean, it probably was what was going on, if we're being real. I
yeah.
don't know if there's any way to get Rui high school footage, but I'm gonna actually that's gonna be my weekend mission today.
To look up
I'm
Rui
start.
Hachimura High School highlights.
I genuinely have to find it now. I've been thinking about it since we started talking about him. Like, what was that like? Rui in Japanese high school. What was he doing to people? I have to know.
Let's look it up right now. High school highlights.
Wait, what?
Oh, here you go. They have a high school mix.
Oh, what? Okay, here we go.
We'll put
Just
this
on
on.
YouTube, right?
Yeah, I'm watching the Rui Hachimura mix, and I think
All right,
there's some Japanese.
let me watch this too. I gotta see. Like I think I probably watched a little bit of it when he first committed to Gonzaga because it was a big deal. My God.
Oh
See,
man.
honestly, there's sometimes where like it is interesting, Bernie. The infrastructure of high school basketball in Japan is pretty like legit. Like
Yeah.
they're playing in pretty big arenas.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the EuroLeague basketball stuff? Like the championship
Yeah,
games where like people it's almost like a soccer match with the way that they're
for
lighting the
sure.
I don't know what you call those, the flares? Or like fire
Uh,
I don't know what you call it, but like they're literally lighting it in the stadium, which I'm surprised that's even legal
well,
in an enclosed arena. Um
probably should
but
not be, but
we should
that I don't
I
know.
think we
That's
should make a
fine.
visit out there.
Bernie, you kidding me? I'm learning Japanese right now. I don't know if I told you that.
Well, you're gonna have to help me as we go to Tokyo, and we're
Be our
gonna watch the
translator.
be our translator. No, but I think we should do that as like a, and I know this is way off topic than what we
Basketball
talking
tour.
about, but I think we should like actually go tour basketball games and like go to different ones. Like go to, I'm not sure if Turkey's safe or not at this moment, but go
I
to like,
probably would pass on that one personally. Probably
well,
hold off on the Turkey trip.
but we can go to like France and go watch some basketball there, or, just
Check out
plays.
Ukraine.
Yeah, go check out Ukraine basketball. No, but like go I think we should just go out and just go to like these like the Champions League of basketball and just like
I like it. The
go watch
international tour.
and just see
That's
cuz
not a bad idea.
I mean think about this like right now and I know we're just watching oohing and awing over Rui highlights as my propaganda continues. Um we we've noticed I think what is it the last 4 5 seasons now
Mm.
have been international basketball players that have won the MVP. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, and I think Giannis again.
Yep. He won 2 in a row.
So I mean, we're seeing the international sensation and wave come through, and we talked about before with like guys like Gilbert Arenas who I feel like are against that because they
Of course,
want.
dude. There's so many of them. There's so many dudes, these old heads who just hate the idea of international basketball. It's crazy. I mean, it's going to be a hard wake up call for him in the next couple seasons, Bernie, because it already should be. But beyond just Wembenyama, have you seen the number one pick for next season, Bernie? The guy
Yeah,
who's number projected,
yeah,
Mattis.
yeah,
I don't remember his last name. The kid looks nasty too.
yeah. So
Another
again,
Lithuanian kid. Gonna blow
yeah.
some people's minds.
So yeah, I mean, there's a sensation going on in Euro sports right now that again we are noticing a wave of
Want it
guys, and
more.
it's going to be one of those things when we look to the future, when we look at who we should bring in and like what teams should be looking at. I mean, I know there's this guy actually on our NBA draft combine. Let me see if he's on here. It's like Latuich or something like that. I think he's Lithuanian, and I think he's in this year's draft. Let me see if he's. I think it's under Bleacher Report. But there's another guy too that's like going to be a second round type of pick, and he could potentially be a Jokic type of, maybe not the same guy, but like under the next umbrella.
Mm,
Wow, I'm looking at this Wembenyama again next to Rui, and or not Rui, Rudy Gobert, and Rudy
yeah,
Gobert
Rudy
looks
looks small.
tiny.
I mean, the dude is literally 7'5" without shoes on. Bernie? Have you seen some of the stuff? They're literally trying to convince teams he's shorter than he is. Have you ever heard of that before? I've
Well,
never heard that.
I've seen it before with whatchamacallit, with Kevin Durant. Like Kevin Durant does that because
Oh,
Kevin Durant is 7 foot, but he lists himself as like
yeah.
6'10". It's the weirdest thing.
Were they doing that pre-draft with KD, like trying to literally convince team, like they're campaigning to make people think he's shorter than he is, Wembanyama. Like
I
that's literally happening.
I think they're doing that because I think they're trying to lower the value, I think, but it's also kind of one of those
Like
things where
no, it's got to be injury related. It's got to be. It's got to be like don't worry. Like he's 6'5" or 6'6" or 7'6" with shoes on, but um, we're just gonna pretend he's 7'4" because the injury is luck or whatever is better when you're that short. I don't know. And to me, I'm just mind blown that they like he's so big that they want people to think he's smaller. Like that's never happened to, as far as I'm concerned in the NBA. That's crazy. It happens in terms of like the way they get measured with like their shoes at the combine and stuff. Like certain dudes do want to be a little smaller or whatever it is, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting with him just because it seems like it's like a real concerted effort to like, yeah, he's probably 7'6", but really like let's not tell people that.
Yeah, I think it's this guy. What's his name? Tristan Vucevic. Vucevic, it's like a Vuk
His cousin.
Vukcevic. He's a Serbian player. 20-year-old 7 footer, perimeter skills. Like apparently he's been impressing lately. Um, in the combine.
Tristan Vucevic. Vukcevic. Yep.
Vucevic. Like he's been one of those guys that's been at least in the rumor mill
Yeah.
been
It's
impressive.
gonna keep going that way too.
Yeah.
I mean that I don't know, man. It's interesting. We got off on a crazy tangent, but
Yeah. we went
it
from
is interesting.
we went from Lakers free agency to talking about Tristan Vucevic.
Yeah,
And
talking about Lithuanian teenagers, we definitely got off the rails right there.
yeah,
But
that's what you can get here on the charge.
it does, dude. It is interesting to me. Like we're coming up to a critical time in NBA
Mhm.
history here, where the frequency of these European players winning the biggest accolades in the sport is going to become so commonplace that people
Yeah.
literally won't have a leg to stand on as far as still pretending like the US reigns supreme in terms of this sport. Like they can't do it anymore just based on sheer factual statistics of like look at the last
Yeah.
few champions, look at the
Mhm.
last few MVPs. All of these things are going to keep being true.
Yeah.
We still haven't even seen the guys that are like the most hyped prospects of all of them. I mean, Wembanyama is the guy that's going to
Mhm.
really lock it in. If he's even 75% of what people are thinking he's going to be, including us, I mean, it's wraps for anybody pretending like the US is still, the head of the table.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, and I've made a video on that, and I just want to, I'll give a little shout out to the video. We did a Victor Wembanyama player profile.
It was a while ago too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was almost like a year ago.
that was like a couple months ago, like 4 or 5 months ago. So I think you
Yep.
guys should definitely check that out if you guys are interested in that. Again, like I said, me and Pete are actually going to probably in the next couple weeks because the draft is the 23rd.
Oh,
But we
that's
are,
crazy.
I know
Only a
it comes
month
by quick.
away.
But Pete and I are going to be looking at some NBA prospects relatively soon, and kind of just letting you guys know about them. So we have our group of guys that we're looking at, each of us, and we're gonna just kind of come back for a nice little show and tell presentation, the way that it should have been done. But yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about that in the next couple of weeks with our streams. So probably on a Sunday, I'm assuming. Um,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk about like what guys we like, what guys we think could be good, and what guys might have struggle in the NBA. And again, I'm gonna post this video in the chat. Again, this is the Victor Wembanyama video, and this is the one again where we talked about Rui Hot or sorry, not Rui. Again, Rui propaganda. No, but Victor Wembanyama, another guy on my propaganda list. I might have to make a propaganda list, and
Need to do propaganda rankings this off season,
propaganda
Bernie.
rankings this
Like our
offseason.
own personal. This is who we're about to go riding hard for these people this year.
Yeah, and like I said, Victor Wembanyama could be the new wave, human cheat code, the face of the NBA, whatever you want to say about Victor Wembanyama. I think he's got that type of talent and potential in the future. The way that he's been playing, the way that he's
Yeah,
been
he
looking. So um, again, that's
never
go.
never doubt a man. Never doubt a man who can shoot a 3-pointer and dunk his own putback.
Yeah,
That's just a rule I've created recently. If you can do that physically, just don't doubt him. I don't know.
yeah.
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
I definitely agree with that. And let's move on to the next topic. Let's see here. But let us know in the comment section down below, going way back and
Give me
circling back. What do you guys
run
think
and Pete
about
real quick, Brent.
the Lakers? Okay. Let me know what you guys think about the LA Lakers and the and what they do in the offseason. Again, there's a lot of stuff that the Lakers need to do this offseason. We know that Rui Hachimura, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, and Lonnie Walker are going to be a couple guys that they're looking at. The reason why I don't include D'Angelo Russell in that is because, I mean, D'Angelo Russell has had a struggle in the playoffs. And again, the last time that I saw a good D'Angelo Russell was actually in Brooklyn. And I just think that they probably should have just kept that team together, man. Like thinking back more on it, that team was onto something, whether they were going to win that series or not, or whether they were going to be like a team that does something. But that team did really well. They had D'Angelo Russell as kind of the head snake of that, or like the head of the team. And they really should have just kind of kept that team going. I know they had to blow it up because they wanted to get Kyrie and KD, and it's a superstar driven league. Teams are going to do that, but at the same time, it's tough to see like what that team could have been to what they are now, and it's going to be a very interesting thing. So we'll actually talk about the Brooklyn Nets just in a second, but let me know what you guys think about the Lakers offseason plans. Are you guys a fan of it? Are you not? All right, and let's read a little bit of the comments. Descu, we have your Nuggets one, LeBum. Even though you have LeBron James as your profile picture, I'm still going to call you out on that because you do need to change it if the Nuggets are your team. Gravito, I'm calling it Heat versus Nuggets. It's going to be a 7 games for sure. Yeah, I mean, I just think that I think at this time of the year with the way that the Nuggets are playing, with the way that the Heat are playing, it's looking more and more likely that those are going to be the teams that are going to be playing in the NBA Finals. Again, I still have a little faith in my Celtics, but to me, it's going to be up to Tatum and Brown to step up because they clearly have not been as aggressive or even as good as they need to be to win these games. And the way that the Heat set up their zone, with the way that our two guys just need to slow down a little bit and play a little bit better. But we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. But let's move on to
what's up next, Bernie.
Let's talk about this. The Nets not interested in trading for Malik Beasley to the Blazers for the 3rd overall pick.
Wait, Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges. Yeah. So what did I say, Michael?
You said Malik Beasley.
Malik.
Malik Beasley for the third overall pick. That's a different story. That's crazy.
That's a crazier story. But no, you're right. Mikal Bridges to the Blazers for the 3rd pick. The Nets are not interested in that trade. The Portland Trailblazers obviously felt like they were one of the biggest losers in the draft just because they thought they had a chance at the number 1 overall pick. And they ended up getting the number 3 pick, and they are looking to trade it. And they are determined to do what the 3rd overall pick plus Anthony Simons can return them for in the trade market as they attempt to improve the roster around Damian Lillard. And one player who is not available is, of course, Bridges. Schiffer of the Athletic reports that the Nets are not interested. And of course, there's a lot of things that the Trailblazers need to do with that pick. What were you going to say, Pete?
I don't know I don't know, Bernie. I think that's kind of crazy. I like Mikal Bridges a lot. Really do. If you're a team like the Nets, like, this is a really good draft, and we're just talking, we're not ready to do our, really in-depth coverage of this draft class. I'm pretty confident in saying I think this is like one of the best top 7s in the last 15 years. Like, there is a lot of talent in this draft. Mm-hmm. Specifically that top 3, like the Nets. I don't understand quite what their plan would be in terms of holding on to Mikal Bridges, unless they're instantly going to go try and sign somebody or go make a big deal for another star. What's really the point? I mean, he's really good, but if we're a losing team, in the second half of the season. Post KD trade, they literally had a losing record. They were not good enough to actually make the playoffs. If they had had like 10 more games, they wouldn't have been in. I like Mikal Bridges a lot, Bernie. I'm kind of mind blown by their hesitance to turn him into a huge payday. I don't really get it. I know he was wildly impressive, just statistically for that second half of the season. There is a legit chance they could get Scoot Henderson at that third pick. Like I'm pretty sure Brandon Miller is well in the discussion at number 2 to go to Charlotte. Like
I've
he makes more
I've been hearing
makes more
rumors about
sense
him.
for them. I think he's going number 2. If I had to prognosticate, I'm calling it. Brandon Miller is going 2 to Charlotte. He makes more sense. They don't have to re-sign or bring back Miles Bridges if that's the case. They can move on from him and not keep them both together, and
Yeah.
it's not as big of a hit. You could get Scoot Henderson at number 3 if you're the Brooklyn Nets, if that's what you want. You could also get him at number 3 if you're Portland. Like, to me, I don't think it's that crazy to try and take Scoot at 3 and trade Damian Lillard and go young if you're Portland. Go with the Scoot and Shaden Sharp and see what happens, right? And Anthony Simons, keep him around too.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of crazy, Bernie. What would you do if they offer, if you're holding on to Mikal Bridges, somebody comes to you with let's say it's the 3rd overall pick, and let's say have to throw somebody else in there. Say it's Portland. Has to be Portland. They have the number 3 overall pick. Let's say they offer you the number 3 overall pick and Drew Eubanks and one more something, like one more protected first. Would you not do that? You'd hold on to Mikal Bridges
Only if I get Anthony Simons. That's the only reason I would take that trade. Because right now,
with the
Mikal
3rd and
Bridges,
Anthony Simons?
I think I'd probably do that. Because I mean, thinking about this, like the reason why I think you wouldn't just straight up trade the 3rd pick for Bridges is because
One for
Bridge
one.
Bridges is your number 1 guy. Like,
Yeah.
forget Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is your number on the bench, sitting on the
He's
couch
number
type of
nothing,
guy.
Bernie. He's not playing for that team again. There's
Yeah.
no way.
I'm curious to see what happens with him because I think he is either has 1 more year left or 2 more years left. I can't remember how many years on his contract, but you get rid of him and like all you're left with is Mikal Bridges and Spencer Dinwiddie. And that's not a team
Yeah.
that's going to win you
And Yuta.
it's not going to win you a championship. And so, I think if you're in Brooklyn, it's like, yeah, you're getting rid of your quote unquote
Clack.
superstar player because he's your only guy. Like,
Yeah, but see, that's kind of why I think it's crazy to hold on to Mikal Bridges. They have so much they need to do. They're so far away from anything. No, Mikal Bridges does not get you closer to. I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He does, but he's still. In
he,
best case scenario, is he the 2nd best player on a championship team?
he's probably
Best
like the
case.
third best, I would say is best.
I would say like premium, you get the absolute most out of him. I think he could be your 2nd best player. That being
Yeah.
said, who could they even remotely go get as their number 1? It literally doesn't make any sense. They couldn't. So I don't know. Like I remember being absolutely dumbfounded when they revealed they turned down 4 firsts for Mikal Bridges at the trade deadline. Like, to me, that's crazy. You're already so far from everything. You need to just get more assets. But number 3 overall pick in this year's draft, Bernie, maybe they're just waiting to see. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like draft night. We're going to wait all the way until then to see what Charlotte does at number 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be definitely a very interesting scenario for the Brooklyn Nets this offseason because, man, I was just talking about it earlier. Like, I was thinking about back to because we were looking at D'Lo. It's just crazy to me, like that team that went to the playoffs, made a nice little playoff run, had probably a really good roster, just absolutely get torched and torn apart because you wanted to bring in KD and Kyrie, and they
Yep.
kind of ruined that whole thing. And
They have Cam Johnson, too. We can't forget him. I
yeah,
mean, Cam Johnson's really solid.
yeah, I love Cam Johnson, but to me, it's more like you had such a great roster, and
Yeah, they were in a great spot.
and they blew it up, and then they had James Harden, and they said, "All right, let's just trade him and get Ben Simmons," and it just ended up being a huge, complete mess.
Yep.
And I'm a little disappointed in that because, like I said, I think, well, I mean, I don't really care for Brooklyn too much, but,
That's
I
true
just
though.
think that they had a perfect thing going on and they decided, you know what? I think we'll be okay. And,
Ben has 2 more years, by the way.
oh, great.
Also, did you know his agent, his new agent after Clutch is his name is Bernie.
Oh, I would
Throwing that out
say,
there.
I would look to make arrangements for Call of Duty Face Clan League. I would.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be looking at. I would not be looking at in the NBA. And also, I would advise him not to post that social media post about the 76ers, but that's just
Don't
me.
even get me started. Don't even get me started, Bernie. That's one of the dumbest things I've seen in literal years. I'm mind blown
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this. I think this is going to be one of those things, like looking back on it, you know, like you said, Pete, we're going to see what happens with Charlotte at 2. Charlotte, to me, almost kind of like last year, the way the Orlando Magic were hiding the fact that they were going to take Paulo the whole time. Uh, but it does kind of shape the draft a little differently if the Hornets take a certain player versus not a certain player. Um, I think that it will open up a lot of can of worms if the the Blazers, have a chance to either get Brandon Miller or someone else. But that's going to be a very interesting conversation uh, in the future.
Bernie, I will not get off my if I was in charge of one of these middling teams. If I'm the Pistons, Bernie, you cannot convince me that you should not be one of the first teams to ever like go trade and get the twins together. Go get 2 twins together. Draft them 5, 6. Why not? Give me the Thompson twins. Put them together and see what happens if you keep them together their whole career. We're about to witness the greatest set of twins to ever enter the NBA, and you could get them right next to each other, keep them together their whole career. You have instant chemistry.
Yeah, I mean that'll be a very interesting situation if that is the case. But
It's my preview for everybody. I'm gonna just tell everybody now. I ride really hard for the Thompson twins. I really like them.
yeah,
I think they're gonna be incredibly good in the NBA.
Pete's a big twin guy. But let us know in the comment section down
Yeah,
below.
all twins.
All
I
twins,
ride hard for all twins.
all twins everywhere around the world. But let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this Brooklyn Nets situation? And of course, the Blazers. What do they do? Do they keep Damian Lillard? Do they trade him? Or do you build around him? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, let's see here. We can talk about this one just because I think that it's kind of a very interesting and really sad state of affairs as to really what's happened to DeAndre Ayton. I mean, it's not really sad because we kind of have been seeing it for a while now, and I think it started in the NBA Finals. But the Mavericks are a team that was rumored to be looking at getting DeAndre Ayton, and apparently they said that it's been overstated. I think a lot of people just try to make that assumption just because the Mavericks needed a center. They wanted to pair someone up with Luca. And people are wondering what's going to be going on with DeAndre in this offseason. I feel like he can't stay in Phoenix, Pete. I don't know about
Oh,
you.
there's no way he's back in Phoenix. I'd be
Uh,
I'd be shocked. However, I will say, Bernie, them firing Monty kind of changed my opinion on that a little bit. I don't know if that means he's going to stay. I really still think there's no way they can run it back with him, but um I don't know. I was kind of surprised by the Monty firing, and I think maybe small percentage chance he had something to do with it, but I don't think he has that kind of sway. To be honest with you.
yeah, I don't think he has that kind of sway either. But I just think um, you know, Monty obviously did a good job of getting this team to as far as they could. But at the end of the day, I just think that the depth of the bench and the guys that could shoot threes and the guys that can make
The
some
lack
plays
thereof, yeah.
was not there. And that's kind of the reason why this team ultimately uh, ended up capitulating the way that it did. And when you signed Aiton to that big contract, especially when you had another team match that contract, and you decided to keep him anyway, like he has to be your third best player. And many times this season, when Mikal Bridges was on the team, Mikal Bridges was the third best player.
No,
And
McKay, yeah, by for sure.
meanwhile, like DeAndre Ayton was just a distant type of player because he's so inconsistent about his scoring and his rebounding that You know, he doesn't really do anything on defense. He's not a big shot blocker like I think a lot of people thought he would be. Again, we remember that draft and we said like, yeah, you could take him and he could be a good center for you, but I just think Luca would be a better fit for this team, especially if you have him and Booker. Luca and Booker, maybe they wouldn't be as hostile to each other. But
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they would have tried to kill each other. Maybe they were
yeah,
just never meant to like each other.
yeah.
It
But I mean,
kind of comes across that way a little bit.
yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, like even Booker yells at Aiton. Like it's just
Well, I was just about to say that. Yeah, honestly, of anybody on the team, the person who looked the most frustrated at Aiton all the time, it was Booker. Booker looked like he was so annoyed to
yeah.
even be around him.
Uh-huh.
KD just seemed completely indifferent to him.
Yeah.
But Booker, I mean, Booker really looked frustrated at Aiton much more than any of the other people on the team. Like, just like, you're the most annoying little brother I could even imagine to be on the team.
Yeah.
And why have you not gotten better? Because really, I don't know, man. Like, is Aiton the is he the center Ben Simmons? Is he just truly Ben Simmons? Like, is he maybe next incarnation of the same guy? Like the uber talented, physically gifted, but just doesn't want it enough to really put it all together guy? I think he is.
I just think he's not as he's kind of made of plush or like made of jello or like I don't know what
That's
you
kind
call
of Ben too. Like it's the mental part of it. Cause he's not. Like Aiton is a physical freak. He's huge. He's so athletic.
it.
He's
Mm-hmm.
really big. Like he's bulky for his size. It's just it's mentally how he plays. He plays like a much smaller guy.
Yeah.
Like he does not play to his frame. I
Mm-hmm.
always I feel like the thing that turned Ben Simmons' career around was that like he stopped playing with his frame. Like that's really the difference of Ben from pre the Atlanta series to post.
Uh-huh.
And before was an all NBA level guy because despite the inadequacies with his game, he just relied on his physicality and could get anywhere. He knew it. Then he stopped thinking about it and he stopped well, I guess he started thinking about it too
Yeah.
much and he stopped doing those things and now he literally is just way too soft to do anything on the court. Aiton is kind of like he's almost fortunate in the sense that he just doesn't have same level of expectations in terms of like do it all type of things. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
just going to be the center, go down there in the, low post paint area and just stand there. He can hide a little bit like if it's not going well. But dude, they're so much similar to what goes on with their game. Like it's just a disinterest, a unwillingness to do
Mm-hmm.
the dirty work and the little things that make up for your inadequacies as a player. Like him and Ben, those are the two things neither of them ever seem to do or want to do. Little things.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's again like you said. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. Again, we talked about this guy at nauseum during that draft class. I mean, that's when we officially started our channel was around this time. And we talked about the Booker, or sorry, not the Booker, but the Aiton versus Luca debate. Like, I think we were both like pro Stan Luca. Um,
Bert, are you kidding me? We were screaming from the mountaintops. How could you even remotely consider taking Aiton over this guy? It was mind blowing to us back then. It was crazy.
yeah,
Still
and
crazy.
yeah, I mean, like, because again, you would have got that point guard. I know a lot of people were clamoring for Booker being a point guard, but I've watched his game too
No,
much. He's not a point guard
he
at all.
he's not a point guard. He's not. It just wouldn't work.
And that would have been actually would have been a good 1-2 combo. But I think at the end of the day, you have to just live with the results. And you have to live with what's going on. I just think for the Mavericks, they need to do a little deep soul searching. And we'll obviously be doing some stuff in the off season about Aiton and well, more so about like well, I guess Aiton, but more like the whole teams that are going on.
Yeah, I think we should do like little rebuilds. I
Rebuilds,
think that
bring back the fixer upper videos because those were pretty good.
maybe
Uh,
we should do those in 2K together.
yeah,
Talked about that for a while.
just like bring it back because I do think that we need to we need to start a dialogue, as Charles Barkley would say. We need to start a conversation with some of these teams because
Start.
some of them teams are they're not in reality at times, and it is interesting to see like for the for the Suns, like what is their next move? Like, yes, you brought in KD. Yes, you have KD and Booker, and you have Aiton for now. But like, what is your game plan for this team? Like, because again, those four guys did. Well, I should say those two guys kind of did their jobs, scoring and doing many other things. But really, it's like what else do you need to build this team a little bit more, and add some depth and get rid of some guys so you can add some guys, build guys that are going to be 3-point shooters. And so that's kind of why, to me, that's why they lost the series. And like I said, I think in order to keep up with a team like the Denver Nuggets and things like that, you have to shoot threes just like they do. It's kind of similar in a way. They get the threes a little bit differently, the Nuggets do, but it's similar to Golden State for me. Like, these are teams that like to shoot the threes. How are you going to get those stops to, or even keep up with the scores the way that these teams do? I mean, there's a reason why the the Suns lost in those series is because they just ran out of, or I would say the Suns just ran out of gas and were not able to shoot the way that these other teams are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a matter of people. There's no nuance nowadays, Bernie. People don't understand. Like, you can have the stars, but not have all the other pieces,
Yeah.
and you can have. It honestly does not matter who your 1 and 2 are. Like, they can be two of the best players of all time. If you have literally nothing to support them, it's a
Mm-hmm.
4-quarter game.
Yep.
And most importantly, it's the playoffs. So it's a 7-game series of 4-quarter games.
Yeah.
Those two dudes can't do that. Like, it's I found it so humorous watching the Suns Nuggets series. Like, 2 games that the Suns ended up winning. What happened, Bernie? Devin Booker and Kevin Durant had like 80 points combined both games. That's
Yeah.
absurd. People are just acting like people can do that every single night. That's
Yeah.
literally not what the sport is. There's a reason those numbers don't happen that often. It's because that is incredibly difficult to do. You don't have a supporting cast around you.
Yeah, exactly. And let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this story? Are you guys a fan of DeAndre Ayton and him going to the Mavericks? Or do you think he should get traded? If you're a Suns fan, let us know in the comment section down below. Because again, the Phoenix Suns, they're going to be looking to do something in the offseason. Not sure what it's going to be, but definitely going to be some moves happening, and they need to look for a coach as well. So a lot of stuff going to be going on for the Phoenix Suns and what they do in the near future. So let us know in the comment section down below. And please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, all this stuff helps out the channel tremendously, and lets us know that you guys are interested in the channel. But again, let us know.
Before we get into the next topic, Bernie, I'm going to give you a hot take.
All right.
Ready?
Hot take.
Prediction. Dylan Brooks will be on the Phoenix Suns next year.
Dylan Brooks on the Phoenix
Calling it
Suns.
right now. I'm calling it right now. He will be on that team. It screams
It
match made in
screams.
heaven.
Oh, with that shot selection, it's gonna be hell.
Bernie, I'm telling you, who there is anywhere you could get two guys who would not let Dylan Brooks take those shots. I honestly think it's Devin Booker and KD would tell him, like, "What are you doing?" Like, I feel like that would happen, and I'm not a big fan of either of those guys, to be frank. You know this, but I think that makes too much sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Could get him. They're going to be able to get it. Whoever gets him is going to get him for cheap too. I mean,
yeah.
he's got talent. There's a reason he still was playing. I mean, he's all right on defense.
His shot
He just has.
selection.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm not defending him.
Yeah.
He's terrible. One of the worst attitudes, characters in the whole league. That being said, whatever. Still a talented guy. There's teams who are always going to be desperate enough to go get guys like that. I just think the Suns have that feel of like, we're going to go get guys that maybe are on the fringe of like, do people actually want to root for these guys? But we're going to go get them for cheap and then put them out on the squad with KD and Booker to try and win. Like, I also would not be shocked if Miles Bridges is on their team next season. Like, they have that feel to me of that team. Let's go get everybody and just hope having Kevin Durant, having Devin Booker is enough to keep the wheels on this trolley, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's see here. Drunk, you have some comments here. In no way would I want Aiton on my team. Bro got 0 heart. Rather have Bol
Zero.
Bol than Aiton. And then Dylan Brooks to the Suns would be interesting.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would not want Dylan Brooks on my team. I'm just saying, I get the feel you need somebody, you know.
Yeah, I mean it'll be
I'm confused as to how he's a vet min. No, I honestly think that's just unfortunately how the league works sometimes. You know, if you have a bad rap with one team or a couple teams, those dudes all talk to each other. The GMs and all these organizations, they don't want the headaches that, you know, other teams have already dealt with that are obvious. But there's always one sucker that's going to put a contract down in front of somebody. It's just always how it goes.
yeah. And let's move on to the last story. And really, this last
Get it?
story is just really this last story is just a quick little preview as to how we're gonna look at some guys for our NBA draft coverage here on the channel. These were the 7 standouts according to NBA.com from the draft combine. There's a couple of guys that we can talk about. One of them being, of course, Amari Bailey is actually a guy that people are looking at in this year's draft class. You know, he did actually a pretty good job in the combine, at least in the second game. I believe he had like 8 assists. Like he's more like a facilitator now, whereas before he was kind of more like a. I would say like he was more of a scorer. Like if we see him at Sierra
Yeah.
Canyon, you guys have saw like early UCLA, like he was trying to score too much, and I think that's kind of what led him to transitions because he was so inefficient. He kind of transitioned to this new role of being a more of a facilitator. So Amari Bailey is kind of one guy that was looking to be like a second round pick, but now could be projected in the mid 20s as a guy that like made a huge jump.
And that I could definitely see that happening. He's got, I mean, that high school, you know, those rankings, high school rankings, that stuff does matter. I mean, those guys end up getting drafted regardless of how bad their between season win or whatever it was. You know, I actually didn't really watch a lot of him at UCLA. Did he get hurt?
No, he played. He actually had a big
Played the whole
role.
season?
Yeah, he had a big role in that team.
Okay. They had didn't they have one of their guys get hurt at UCLA? I might be mixing him up with somebody. Somebody got hurt right before the March Madness situation.
I think you might have been
Um,
mixing him up, but
I probably am. That being said, I got to watch more Amari Bailey, but people with the level of coverage he got in high school, they get drafted, and if he's standing out, showing some stuff, you know, interesting to see.
yeah, I'm trying to see here. I know Amani Bates, a guy that we've. I mean, to me, what's kind of crazy is that uh, this guy, like Amani Bates, was a guy that was supposed to be competing with Victor
Wembanyama.
Wembanyama as like
Yeah.
1, 2 with the way that their size and other things like that. And you know, now it's looking like Amani Bates could be a second round pick at this point. It's kind of a sad state of affairs, I would say, but at the same time, you know, that's just kind of the reality of sports. And you know, I think that that's kind of one thing that people are looking forward to. So you know, if he's a second round pick, I think it's not a bad, like you might take a shot at him just because I think that it's kind of one of those things where, you know, I think he could do some things. And you know, you take a chance on guys like that because again, with the right situation, the right coaching, I think he could be a really good player.
Yeah, you
I think
never
like a
know. I
solid
mean,
player. I would say not like
yeah, in the physical attributes alone, I mean, that's the type of guy you want to take a risk on, you know.
yeah. Other guys that were biggest in winners and losers. Let's see here.
Know who's growing on me? I don't know if he was at the combine. I don't know if he took place. Um, I like that Cam Whitmore quite a bit.
Cam
I've
Whitmore,
started to watch
he's
quite
gonna
a
be a
bit of
top
him.
10
He
pick.
is, yeah, I think he's a guy that's going to creep up towards that top 5, top 6 potentially. Somebody might jump in on him a little early.
I think there was rumors that he might go to what team was he going to go to? Like the Wizards was a team that was looking to get him, which kind of fits
Mm.
their MO of like, you know, kind of that like 6'6" to like 6'9" forward. It just screams
Yeah,
Wizards.
that the guy they take every year. Yeah,
Um trying to think who else is like Anthony Black. I know that he's a guy that has definitely done a really good job at Arkansas. 6'7", the 6'7" point guards are starting to rise up a little bit more and like become players that a lot of teams will take a chance on just because we see guys like Josh Giddey, we see guys like LaMelo Ball, like those guys are like leading the wave in the pathway for six,
Yeah,
7 point guards.
very
Um,
very much so.
who's another guy? Your Twins. Obviously, your Twins are kind of some guys that made some good impacts in the draft or the combine.
Yeah, they're those dudes are. I ride hard for the Twins. I can't say it enough.
Let's see here. We gotta
The
had
Twins.
some, like I said, Marty Bailey was one of the standouts. Trying to think who else was kind of like a big standout in this year's class. Uh, Ben Shepard was also another guy that a lot of people looked at. A kid from Belmont had 18 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2.9 assists. Again, need to do a little more research on him. But
here in the end,
here's a video of him getting a steal here, making a nice, delicious dime to that guy, and again, long, athletic, and getting the passing lanes, and very nice assist there to guy to finish.
Damn, Zach Edey is so big. Just forget. I don't know why. I just like I don't even think about how big he is. He's 7 foot 3.5 without shoes. 306.
Which guy?
That's a big boy. Zach Edey.
Oh, Zach Edey. Yeah,
Purdue.
Drunk said, "Hey, how good is them Twins for real? I've never seen them play."
I mean, I think they're nasty. I think they're so versatile. Amen Thompson's more of a point guard. He is kind of more in that mold of what Bernie's talking about. 6'6", 6'7" point guard. Really incredibly talented. So explosive. I mean, they're gonna be. I mean, if I had to equate them to anybody, I don't know if I could even come up with a great comp right off the top of my head. But they definitely are gonna throw down monster dunks that are gonna get a lot of attention their rookie season. But Osur Thompson doesn't get enough buzz either. He's very, very good. He's probably, in my opinion, other than Brandon Miller, I think he's the best wing in this draft, Osur Thompson. I just really like the way they play, like within their team. Like they're both guys that seem to, maybe it's a product of playing together. They're literally their whole lives. Like they just know how to play team basketball. Like they're always looking to pass the ball and stuff. But I just really like what I've seen from them, like all around. I'm excited to see once we get a little closer to summer league and stuff, see wherever they go. I'm as much as I want them to get drafted together, it's not gonna happen. Like if we're being realistic, like it'll be interesting to see how they play without each other. I always am fascinated by that. Who was the last set of twins that entered the league, Bernie? Was it the Morris twins?
Harrison twins, the ones that went to Kentucky, I think.
Oh, like I guess maybe more like people who play. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people who are like well known for actually getting minutes
Maybe
in the league.
Morris or like the Martin twins as well.
Oh, it is probably the Martin twins in terms of recency.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I do think either of them, they're both very like just straight up versatile guys. Like they can both handle the ball pretty well. Amen obviously a little bit more. But I would say for both of them, maybe like a little shooting could improve for both of them. But
Yeah.
I like what's there quite a bit.
We also got Drew Timmy. Drew Timmy making some noise here in this combine. Not really a big Drew Timmy guy, but he's probably gonna be like a what's the guy's name? Probably like a oh dude, what is that guy's name? Like a Zeller or like a
Oleolytic.
no, not an Olenek. He's probably gonna be like a Zeller or like a who's the big guy for Miami right now? Like white dude.
It's Zeller.
Zeller, yeah, like a Zeller.
I have Cody Zeller.
Yeah, he's giving me Cody Zeller vibes. Drew Timmy.
No, because Drew Timmy can shoot, can he?
Kind of. He doesn't take a lot of them.
He can definitely shoot better than a Zeller. That's for sure. I don't even like Drew Timmy, but he can shoot better than they can. Get Cody Zeller. Get these Zeller brothers out of here. These Plumleys and Zellers. Send
Yeah.
them packing, dude.
Send them packing. Let's see here. But yeah, drunk. Look out for our video. We'll do in the next couple weeks. And really just looking at these NBA prospects and doing a little bit more research on them. Because I think that that's kind of what we're gonna save this for. This was just kind of what the combine was just a couple days ago on the 18th. Um, and we'll talk more about these guys later. But I wanted to just bring this to your guys' attention now, because we will be talking about these guys, and as you can kind of guess by the way that we've been talking about some of these guys, there might be some of us might be talking about them as our players that we're looking at. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those things where this isn't really like a long segment. It's just to let you guys know that to be aware of some of the guys that are coming up in this draft.
Yeah, we're gonna do some more in-depth stuff. I love draft season. I also love it gives me an opportunity to really, strut my stuff, man. I feel like I've been on a heater for the last few years, Bernie. Like I'm on it. I got Mobley 2 years ago. I got Shaden Sharp last year. All the guys I ride real hard for.
Yeah.
All you NBA teams out there, just know I got my eye on the prize. I know what's going on. Hey, Bernie too, for that matter. Bernie, we're both. I honestly think that might be. If I had to toot our horn on anything, I think we're pretty good with the draft stuff. I think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we just know the guys that can play and the guys that people are overhyping, and teams that again, it goes back to the media just not doing their research and their homework and just allowing other people to do it for them. Just probably like it was in high school for them. But
Yeah.
that's just me being a little salt in the wound. But anyway, guys, I think that's gonna do it here for the charge. Unless Pete, you have one more
No,
conversation piece.
I think I'm good today.
All right.
Just
Uh,
I'm excited to see what happens in this Heat game.
yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting whether the Celtics can tie it, not tie it up, but at least get a game in here, or is it over and the Heat are going to the NBA Finals? That's going to be the biggest thing to look forward to. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it here for the charge. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below of all the topics that we talked about today: Denver Nuggets, Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks, NBA Draft, Brooklyn Nets, Blazers, whatever time we talked about today. Um, we have it all here, and again, this is a place for a conversation where we have it with everybody, not just the top teams, not just anything else. One question, I guess, before we end here, and then we'll get out of here. Drunk said, is Grant Williams headed to Dylan Brooks status? No, because I feel like Dylan Brooks gets the. I guess like if you're talking about like trash talking, then yes. But if you're talking about a guy that can back up his performance, I think Grant Williams can back it up just a little bit more than Dylan Brooks, just because Grant Williams isn't going to be a shot chucker. He's not going to be a guy that's like taking the 20-footer or 26 or 28-footer away from the basket, trying to prove to everybody that he can shoot.
Yeah,
Um,
he doesn't kill you. He doesn't kill you like Dylan Brooks does.
yeah. If anything,
Not
it's
great, but
yeah. I mean, PG-13 is Dylan Brooks, and Grant Williams is rated G. Like that's the way I would categorize, or PG. Sorry, that's the way I would categorize if you're trying to say which guy is like way better or which guy is like in terms of like status wise. But again, if you're gonna aim for the king, or if you're gonna go for the top guy, you best not miss. And there was a swing and a miss there for our guys. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for the charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Shout out to Pete coming on the show again, giving you the information that we needed to know. Again, we're going to try to be more consistent on these streams, trying to go for more Sunday streams early in the morning at some point. Well, not at some point. We'll let you know when those are on Sunday morning. And of course, you're going to have me kind of doing some streams throughout the week. Won't be as long as these formats just because obviously talking about this stuff, you need a more back and forth conversational volleys. And Pete is my guy that I'm riding with for my volleys. But with that being said, thank you guys once again for tuning in, and we'll catch everybody on the next episode of The Charge. Peace out, everybody.